Alright lads, welcome back to the Inside Minecraft podcast. Everything you need to know inside Minecraft. We are back again with another tournament host. So I've had Shalom on, who owns Minecraft Mayhem. I may or may not be having someone else on who owns a tournament. And maybe someone else, who knows. But today we are joined with the owner, and I want to say owner, of the largest, and that's not like emphasis on the largest, I'm not over exaggerating, largest Minecraft Bedrock tournament there has ever been and currently is right now. Slater Productions.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Wait. I've been told to go. Hey guys, Slater here, because apparently that's my thing.
Who told you to do that? The staff.
Yeah, yeah. It's an intro thing that I've been. Anyway, not important. That was flattering, by the way. That was
Yeah.
largest Bedrock. Yeah, that's crazy. That's surreal.
I mean, who runs like a public self-made kind of tournament like Minecraft? I don't know if you've ever heard of like Block Wars or anything like that on Java.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I watch Block Wars.
Who runs that kind of equivalent on Minecraft Bedrock other than MCBC?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, but I mean, I know there's other tournaments, of course, but I mean, like
Yeah.
MCBC is like
No,
a self-made tournament. Do you get what I mean when I say that?
Yeah. We've also been around forever too now. Like we're coming up on 3 years, which is kind of crazy.
How long? Sorry, 2 years. You say or 3?
3 years.
Oh,
we're coming up on 3. It'll be 3 years in about a month.
Okay, well that's one of my questions out the way. Then you've already answered it. 3 entire years. Jeez. Do you wanna introduce yourself then, Slater? Let the people know who you are, what you do. And I kind of gave the rough rundown there, but it'd be better from yourself.
Sure. So yeah, I'm Slater Productions, or Jace is my actual name. I did a bunch of YouTube stuff for years and years, but lately, over the last few years, I've been mainly focusing on hosting an event called MCBC, Minecraft Bedrock Championship, which is currently, in its current form, is an event where 18 players come together, play 6 games for fun and for gloating rights. And yeah, so that's probably what I'm most known for is that event. But
6 teams of 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've done some other stuff. Like currently, I'm running a series called Endoza with some other people, which is like a story.
I've heard about that. Yeah, it's on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
There was one on Friday the other day.
A lot of fun. Yeah. So they do we have the main events on Sunday, but then they can do their own stuff on other days.
Yeah, I keep up with it.
Yeah. It's a good time.
So you said you used to do YouTube. We'll get into talking about that. See, I normally would leave that to a session on its own, but with the whole YouTube thing, what did you used to do on YouTube?
I did a lot of stuff. I did everything from survival to I did role plays at one point. I did just tutorials. I did a few tutorials. I played other games other than Minecraft as well, but I'd say the biggest thing that I was known for was probably it was some of the role plays I did, and then there was a few series I did. So Project Aquatic was my longest running. I did 100 episodes of that, and then we ended up doing multiple seasons of it. So most recently I was doing Project Peaks episodes, and that was with some of the MCBC testers and people in that realm. We had a whole war arc and stuff, but lately it's been just a lot of MCBC making tournaments, making game modes, making events for people, and helping out with that.
So it's always been Minecraft. It's always been Minecraft related.
It's pretty much since day one. It was Minecraft. There was Call of Duty. There was Terraria. There was a few games I jumped around in, but I did a whole Subnautica Let's Play of both games. But I did. It was always Minecraft. It would always kind of come back to it, and that was sort of the main thing.
It's always one of those games you can come back to, really.
Yeah. It's one of those games of if you get bored of it, just find something else to do. And it's really just an open sandbox of you can make anything you want in the game, within limitations, obviously, especially with Bedrock. But you can do pretty much whatever you want within the game, and that's a pretty cool concept for a video game.
With that being said, a lovely introduction, by the way, Slater. I don't think we've ever talked in a VC before. We've shared messages back and forth, but we've never actually had a conversation like this. We had a little talk before the podcast began, but I like to do that anyway. Let's get into talking about, before we talk about the tournament, let's talk about your past.
Uh-oh.
So, It's nothing deep. Don't worry. Every single time I say it like that, everyone's like, "Oh no, he's gonna ask me."
Oh no, what have you dug up? No.
I've done a lot of research, Slater. I know what you've done.
Uh,
I know who you are. Speaking of Slater and stuff like that, where did Slater Productions come from? What's the idea behind your name?
Okay, so I went back and forth a lot with my name. So my last name is Slade, like Slade.
Oh, you're just
And
gonna
Slater.
your last name? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
it's fine. It's a public known thing. People know that.
Fair enough.
So Slater was like a nickname for my uncle or something back in the day, and it just kind of like was my gamer tag when we first made my Xbox account. And Productions, because I thought it. Look, hindsight, I should have been called Slater Studios because that sounds better. But Productions is what I went with when I was 14 and I made.
I think it sounds pretty cool though.
8 years ago.
I think Slater Productions sounds pretty sick.
It is. Oh, it sounds good, but we're like, man, Slater Studios would sound like it just rolls better.
So why not change it?
I don't want to change it now. I'm 8 years in. It's too late.
You're too deep. You're in too deep.
I'm in too deep now. I just can't be bothered. But yeah. So originally I was like Slater Pro at one point, and then everyone assumed that meant I was going to be a god at any game mode I touch. And I was like, no. Pro is short for production. One got that. So I was like, okay, let's just go back. And I kind of flip-flopped from that. But it was always, Slater Productions was the handle I went with.
Honestly, fair enough.
Yeah.
For anyone who may be wondering why that just cut out for a second there, I accidentally hit space and it stopped my recording. Though I didn't cut off anything you said. People can still make out the sentence. So don't worry, you're still good. I think it just cuts off like Productions. Right. So just for anyone who's like, why did that just stop working? That's the reason why. That's never happened on a podcast before, by the way. So you get the first time.
First. No, that's the true Slater fashion. It's always slightly scuffed.
It's always slightly scuffed. Exactly.
There you go.
So people got mixed with like Slater Pro. Like they kind of thought you were like just cracked at the game, and that's why you had to always clarify like Slater Productions, not Pro.
Yeah, but I'm terrible. So it's like it doesn't make any sense.
Have you ever played in your own tournament?
Have I played my own tournament?
Yeah, MCBC. Have you ever played in it?
All the time. I'm really good at MCBC, but I make the games. So if I'm not good at, I'm good at some games. Build Arena, I'm kind of a monster at.
No, but I mean, like actually, in like in an event like Legacy, non-canon. Have you ever played in one?
We do admin events, which typically we kind of rotate who hosts them. So that way, so usually it's me, Natty, or TZ who host it, and we rotate so that way we all get a chance to play at some point. And then we actually did like a tester tourney one time where Midas hosted, and me, Natty, and TZ were in a team together.
Which in it.
we broke so many point records, but then we lost Cactus, which was kind of like, it was humiliating. They don't like to talk about it, mainly because it was their fault. But hey, it's fine.
But Natty and TZ,
hear
this. Slater's calling you out. I know you're listening. Slater's trying to talk about you.
They know about that one. Look, there's been other times where I've thrown and we played stuff together, but I won TZBC, which is another time, which was technically season 9 of MCBC. And we did like this weird thing where Ryder took it over, or Ryder being Titanium Zombie, which is he's my brother, but he's also a member of the staff team.
Oh, TZ is actually your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure if that was just like brothers and like, oh, like we're so close that I call him bro, but yeah, actually like blood brothers.
No, he is, we share a wall. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny when we do like tournaments and stuff and we play in things and we're on different teams, because we did like UHCs back in the day, and I could hear him like screaming on the top of his lungs, and then I see like his teammate die or something, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's so funny to have that interaction, and it's so great, and I love it.
Jeez, because so you guys like brothers running an event together, that's like unheard of. That's mental.
Yeah.
So are you the main owner and TZ's an admin, or would you say TZ's co-owner as well?
I would say I am the main owner.
Yeah.
I think he just doesn't want the response. I think he definitely could do it. I think he just can't be bothered. He definitely does a lot for the event though. Like he manages the practice server mainly, and then he does like Gauntlet and parkour related things. Those are probably
because TZ's played in the event as well. TZ played in the Christmas event.
Right. So that was part of the deal. So when we went out of Legacy and we went into the new events, he and I kind of had this discussion of like, I kind of told him, look, we're spending. I need you on the team because like I can't do this. Like I can't do all this stuff that that I'm doing without having him kind of in my corner. And he's like, that's cool, but I still want to be able to play in them at the odd time. And so originally we dealt out, okay, you're going to play in one season canonically. And originally I was going to be 11, then we pushed it back to 12. So he did play in season 12 with Irish and DJ Philly, and they got third. And that was his only canon event, probably will be his last, because he has so much insider knowledge about everything, not only being my brother, but also being a staff member.
Yeah,
so like, even if he wasn't a staff, even when you go back to the legacy events, even before he was a staff, and technically he didn't help with every event, he would just know stuff because I'd be talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working on this, or I'd be like trying to hide stuff from him. But then there's little things of like an update video comes out and he's asking questions about it in person. So it's like he's gonna have little tidbits of information. Yeah. So it was like, so let's throw him in the non-canons, and then I let Pete make the teams for festive. And so that way it was like fully like non-biased. It didn't matter. He's my brother. Like, I'm not even gonna try to give him a good team, and then he got like a pretty busted team and they won it. So but you know,
this was a non-canon.
He definitely liked that festive. Yeah, exactly. It's all about fun, and he had a good time. Yeah, so
because I remember I was new to the tournament. That was the first one I started. That would be the first one I actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was meant to start a previous one, but I subbed out because of work issues. Completely my fault, nothing to do with MCBC. And and I remember like someone, I can't remember who it said something about like TZ being like an admin or whatever, and it like led me to believe that TZ played in like a shit ton of events, and because of it I was like, oh, why is an admin playing the event? But then obviously I came to later realize that TZ doesn't actually play in events. So but like the next non-canon, would you or Natty ever play by any chance in a non-canon event?
So okay, so we've had that talk. I don't think I'm ever gonna be playing in one, because TZBC, I went in and I exploited a few things that I had insider knowledge on that even Ryder wouldn't have known, and I ended up kind of like, so to explain it briefly, I knew where the BR drops were gonna come in before they came in, and back then the drops were really good and they gave exclusive items, and this was basically back then the BR loot was not random, so like I knew like the order of the drops were gonna come in. Not super relevant, but anyway, I had some like insider advantages because of that, and it was also like a lobby that wasn't insane strong, so I had an advantage and I got dogged on that tournament, and I had a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm not going to do one again, and Natty's in a similar boat because of Relic. I'm not going to rule it out, but I think part of the reason he's playing, but that Ryder plays with him, and I'm cool with saying this. He's my brother. I'm going to give him a bit of special treatment, but also because that was part of the deal that we made back in the day when he was like, yeah, I'll be on the staff team, but I want to have the option to play in like non-canon events and stuff like that. Exactly. If I want to do it, and so we'll see. And then he was part of the roster back then too in the legacy events, so it's nice to kind of let him doing it if he wants.
So with that being said, then we kind of mixed talking about the tournament and talking about your past, but I guess it's fine because I was gonna leave like the tournament to be its whole like own separate section, if that makes sense. But it's fine to talk. But anyways, but before we get into talking about the tournament more, I did want to ask how did you get into playing Minecraft? Because we touched on it briefly in the intro about like you kind of played a bit of Minecraft and stuff like that, but like is there any reason, or did you just decide to get into like playing Minecraft? Like because you said you started with the SMP and tutorials and kind of stuff, like what led you to playing Minecraft Bedrock specifically to get into like community and stuff like that? All right, so for context quickly before you answer that, Slater, Slater is going to sound different now because their PC started lagging out, as you may have heard in the podcast, so they've moved to a laptop, so they're on a different mic, but at least now it's not going to lag and we can understand them better. So
yeah, this one will definitely be clearer.
There we go. That's way better. Yeah, way better. Okay, right, go ahead then. Do you remember the question?
How I started playing Minecraft?
Yeah, well, specifically Minecraft Bedrock Edition, yeah.
Okay, so Minecraft Bedrock, I started out on Xbox, so I played on the tutorials and everything, so when we made the switch to Bedrock, I moved there, and it was around that time that I started the Project Aquatic. It was like that was when the update came out for it. So I was already doing YouTube for years on 360 and Xbox One. So yeah, that was kind of the like how I started doing Bedrock stuff, but I didn't meet anyone in this community till COVID hit. That was sort of when I started meeting people.
That's about that would be about when MCBC started up, right?
Yeah, so we started in June. So I had been around with a lot of the people. I think it was Infinite Lands and Astra SMP and some of that stuff, and that's where I started meeting people. And then the event was kind of like, to be honest, the first season, when you go back and you watch it, the entire first season of MCBC was kind of thrown together in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
It was like Rome wasn't built in a day, but like MCBC was constructed. Like, to be fair, all of the games were in Bedrock box, or they were like half built. Like they were all pretty bad. But
yeah, it was just one of those like fun little command block game modes.
Yeah. So the whole idea was I was a part of a SMP called Astra SMP, and that's where I met Pete, like Peter's HD, DJ Philly, and Person, some of the guys who still playing it today. And we were wrapping the first season, and I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I did like this little event with like just sort of like a celebration of wrapping the first season? And I'm like, I'll just take some of the games I've been kind of throwing together. We already had the Battle Royale map built at that point. Me and my friends were just messing around, and so we were like, let's make a BR map. And so we made that one of the games. I came up with like, oh, let's do Cactus, because like I heard of that game back in the day, and I was like, let's put our own little spin on that. So I don't know. It was just sort of like thrown together, and then the first season happened. People liked it, and it just kind of went from there. But yeah, kind of just gave you the history of the event as well there. But that's, you know,
So I
it kind
guess-
of bit of hand in hand. But
For transitioning purposes of the podcast, to keep on that topic, but I'm going to add transition. To link to that, what was your inspiration then for making the tournament? Because you said you made it for a little fun thing with friends. Like I remember like back in the day, I made like a fun little spleef game mode with command blocks and stuff like that. Like I did all that stuff. I never turned it into anything.
Yeah.
So where was the inspiration come from to be like, okay, let's go from our little Bedrock boxes where we PvP each other for a bit of fun, turn into MCBC where you have like a crap ton of large creators in the event now, or like give or take like known creators, people who have connections to that. How did it go from a little fun little Bedrock box game to that? Where did the inspiration come from to make that?
well, obviously, I'm a fan of like MCC, and I watched Minecraft Monday, and I watched Block Wars that I mentioned earlier. Like I'm an avid fan, and I watch a lot of those events, and they're fun to watch. So that's definitely a factor. But in terms of like where the event started to even where it is now, I would still say the essence is pretty much the same. If it's like it's just me doing something that I'm passionate about and I enjoy doing, and just trying to kind of have some fun. But I don't know where the line, like obviously season 11, like when we took that break and we came back and like everything was expanded, that could be the point where it went from like, oh, let's try to get bigger creators in it and stuff. But even before that, like I wouldn't say it was different in, I don't know, it's kind of hard to.
When did the legacy seasons end?
The legacy, so the first year of the event, we did 10 events, and that was like June to June. So it was June 2021 that we wrapped the legacy events.
And then you did a
And then-
massive change for season 11.
Right. And then we didn't come back until April of 2022. And then when we came back in April, we had the world downloads go up over the summer. And then we had the April came back, and that was season 11. And then season 11 is when we expanded to go on a server with 18 players, with all these new game reworks, like Relic Raiders and Build Arena were added. So there's a lot that wasn't in the event before, and a lot reworked.
But season 11 is where you kind of said, fuck it, let's make the tournament serious.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like, let's just make it bigger. Like, let's just make it grander and a little bit more to scale. And the biggest thing for us was like, we want more people to be able to play it. Because originally it was 10 players and we did it on a realm. So it was having that limit of 10 people definitely like, it not only, like team balancing sucked back then. Because there's pretty much like, put the strongest with the weakest person, and it was like, there was no fun to it. It was just like, you had to do this and you had to do that. At least with teams of 3, you can get a little bit more creative with it.
Yeah,
But-
you can kind of put like 2 good players and a bad player, or 2 bad players and a good player, like a
Right.
medium good and bad player. Like you can mix it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because obviously MCBC does like quite a good job with team balancing. Obviously you can't always get it right. Like Emotionless's team last season, you
Yeah.
could arguably say was unbalanced, and then that one team that had like Plushie and Stride on it was just a mental team because they're both cracked at parkour. So like, that kind of stuff. But like there's stuff that sometimes can't be avoided, and that comes down to like people saying, okay, I don't want to team with this person, or I want to team with this person, or okay, we've got these teams, we have to have one team that is a little bit OP, otherwise we can't have these players playing the event. Because so I guess it comes down to stuff like that.
Absolutely. And also, there's like, you never know either how people are going to do on the day of,
Yeah, exactly.
regardless of like stats and like trying to figure out where people place. Sometimes people throw, and sometimes just being on a different team changes the entire dynamic of how they play. And so it's really tricky team balancing. So I've always kind of like tried to get it as close as I can, but then there's also a certain level of like, well, we'll just see how it goes down on game day.
Well, that's the thing as well, is like my team with Rubik's on Ian, that event was the highest amount of points I've ever gotten individually in an MCBC
Yeah.
season, being like 720,
Exactly.
and our team came second to last. But then would I
Yeah,
have done
I
that
know.
well if I was
It's
on a team
crazy.
that placed first? Like say I was on a team
Yeah.
with Emotionless and was it Jaden Dog? Let's just say I replaced Slates on that team.
Yeah.
It was me, Emotionless, and Jaden
Sure.
Dog. Would we have made it to the finals? Would I have got as many points because they're both good at the game as well. It comes down, like, I'm not saying Rubik's on Ian are bad, but I performed better than them. Like, would I have performed better than Jaden, Dog, and Emotionless? That kind of thing.
Sure. Who knows?
So it's like
It could have completely changed that entire team dynamic too, right?
it could have changed the entire outcome of the event. But both the teams who came first and second might not even made it to first and second if I was on that team.
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying.
It was a close event. It came down to a few games and just a few decisions of people.
I just had fun battling to not come last, honestly, because I've come lost
That's
in
fair,
so many. Because obviously I missed out on playing the first one because of work. Then I played the Christmas one, and no, I didn't. Before that I got subbed in, and I was on a team with Reverie and DJ Philly, and we came last.
Oh yeah, you were in 15, right?
Then I played in Christmas, and my Wi-Fi was dog. Avery was playing on a Plato, and Irish had bad Wi-Fi as well, so we came last.
It was that was a fun.
Then,
that was a rough ascent.
16, I finally got good Wi-Fi and I applied, and I didn't get in. And then obviously last second replaced Orocat, and I came first. and then in this event I've come second to last. So my like consistency is, it's probably hard to like balance me with a team now, because you're like, he doesn't have, because with most people like Ponte, okay, consistently good. Dander plays consistently good. Emotionless has won both of the events he's played in. Like if new people like Plushy, Stride, okay, they're good at parkour, they're consistently good. But then with someone like me, it's like, what team do you put me on? Because I don't have a consistent. I've won an event, came dead last, came second last, like that kind of thing.
It definitely takes a couple events. Like even like I know you mentioned Emotionless. He played in a non-canon event. That was his first, like his only one going into this one. That's the only stat I had of him. And I knew that Festive, when you look at the scores in Festive, the scores were wild in Festive. Same with season 16. Like the stats for those seasons were juiced. And so it was a level of like, it's not fair to look at especially Festive, to look at that stat and compare it to be like, oh, they're going to do the exact same in this event. So it takes a couple seasons. It takes a couple seasons to like try and balance someone out for sure and figure out where they place in comparison to everything else. Yeah,
fair enough. Back to the whole getting it up and running then with that. So obviously Legacy was the realm. That's what. So I guess Legacy actually stands for like MCBC realm, right? Like when it was
we refer to it as the Legacy season.
Which
I mean, obviously
that makes sense.
Yeah, it was like the original, and so like the BR map that we have is called Legacy, and that's because that was the map we used back then, and we revamped it. But that was
And then season 11, like as much as you say the tournament is just for fun, and I understand it is just fun. Like, it's gotten to that stage now, and when I did the intro, it wasn't me trying to like hype you up or make you feel better about yourself, because it genuinely is the biggest like Minecraft Bedrock tournament, and it is like, that's the thing. Like it's obviously getting to that stage now where it's becoming like there's tournaments on Java Edition like Crown Quest, Minecraft Mayhem, Minecraft Mania. I'm just naming like events that I've known of or been in, or by the time this podcast come out I would have actually played in. I'd be playing in 2 of them tomorrow. But like MCBC is getting to that stage now where it's like it's the MCC of Bedrock Edition. So is it not kind of you wanting to turn around and being like, okay, serious, let's start getting some like creators in who can make an impact or bring like more into the event? Or do you kind of still want to keep it as like, we will just keep it small because as much as you say it is just for fun, which I agree, I had fun. Like, it may not have seen it, I know you watched my VOD back and with all the feedback and stuff, it may not have seemed like I had fun, but I genuinely did have fun. But when people say it, they're only playing for fun, you can tell by the way some people play that they are lying. Like, they're still having fun, but they want to win.
Yeah.
And it's getting to that stage now where it is becoming a competitive tournament that people want to win. So like, is it...
I think there's a line, there's a couple different questions in there. So when I refer to like...
my bad.
No, it's okay. There's just like a couple different answers I want to make.
That's fine, all yours.
So in terms of like what I would define as like going into an event to have fun, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't want to win or you don't want to do well. I think it's more of like you're okay with losing. I think you're more there for the vibes. I think that's sort of the gist of it, where like if people are going in to sweat, they want to win. If they don't win, they are upset. And I think that's sort of the difference. And so that's sort of like, I know like when Pete, I know he talks a lot about like, oh, it's for fun, yada yada. And it's like, yeah, like we kind of want that realm of it. We don't want it to be, because Bedrock is not a competitively viable video game. We know that. There's so many like problems with Bedrock and server side and like I know like you talk a lot about like ping and like different regions and stuff. That's just an issue with Bedrock. It's not even an us thing. That's just something out of our control. And so it's like I forgot, I trailed off. Anyway, the point is like, yes, it's for fun, obviously, and then for growing the event, for trying to bring in bigger creators. I have never been too concerned with the numbers of the event. It's not really something I've been bothered too much by. For me, it's it's really more so like if there's a big creator out there and they want to find a way to reach out to me and they're like, hey, I'm interested in playing, of course we would put them in. We have tried to reach out to people. A lot of people either don't answer us or ignore us or just say no, that they're not interested, and that's okay. But it's one of those things of like, I'm not going to chase anyone around just to get them in the door for clout reasons. I'm more so like, let's just get 18 players in there that will vibe well with each other, that will have fun, that can make some fun moments, make some memories, and if they can do well and work together well as a team, awesome. But even if they can't, hopefully they can just have some laughs and still have a good time. That's sort of that's the end goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, have you got more? Or?
No, that's it. Yeah, sorry.
I know. So, have you ever thought about like? So once again, I don't mean to promote other tournaments. It's just that it's good reference. I hope that's okay with you. When I talk about like Minecraft Mayhem, they open applications publicly. It's a little bit viewer based, mostly content creator based, and they get 600, 700 applications. And I know hearing that is like, wow, I could not be bothered to deal with that. I mean, I could. I'm not speaking for you. I'm saying me. I could not be asked to deal with that. But have you never maybe thought about like? I assume you've heard of CCC. I'm not in it. I left it long time ago when I left it.
I've heard of CCC.
It's not always amazing, but it has a lot of content creators in it. So have you never thought about maybe like messaging Peters and be like, okay, let's see. I'm not going to chase creators. How about you arrange with, I think the owner's Danny still, I don't know. Like I said, I left like a year ago. Arrange with Danny, put in announcements, ping everyone, being like, okay, if you want to sign up to play an MCBC, do this. Like, have you never thought about maybe doing that? Because right now, obviously, you had 3 subs last event, give or take, but it's so hard to like bench people when you're not getting many signups. Because I understand it's not really that big of a deal. Like, okay, this person plays all the time, that's completely fine. But it's also a case of maybe in the long run, it might be say like me and you were playing. I don't want to name names, so we'll just say me and you are playing. Okay, you're not the host. We're both playing. We're both 4 seasons on the trot. Okay.
Yeah.
You get put into the 5th season, but I get benched.
Yeah.
I'll be like, why is my Slater playing a 5th season, but I'm being benched? Why is that? I wouldn't have. I'm not trying to make out like I'm toxic, but like I'd be like, oh, why is that the case? So have you not thought about maybe getting in more content creators so you can start rotating benches so it doesn't get to a stage of like 2 players have played in multiple seasons on the trot, or like say I miss a season, I only play 3 and you play 4, but then I get benched and you don't get benched. It's like, why are you on your 5th season when I've only played 3?
Yeah.
Or like, are you not looking to do that kind of thing?
I don't know if rotating, like, say we opened applications and we brought on like 9 new people for an event or something. I don't know if that would fix the issue. I think that would just make it worse in the long term, because now we have like 50 people or 60 people are looking to play every season, and now I have to bench like 40 of them.
So you're just happy with the idea of just having a small little community where everyone can just play?
I do want to keep bringing new people on. I think that's definitely something we want to do, but I'm not interested in like, other than for like non-canons. Like I do think for the next non-canon we do, I'd like to bring on several new people.
Is the next one canon Pride, or is that going to be a canon event?
Pride. So we're not. I mean, it is a Pride themed event. Like we're doing like Pride themed things, but it is going to be a canon event. Yeah.
Are you able to leak when that is by any chance, or no?
So we're looking at the last week of June, and that's because it will coincide with our anniversary. So we'll be we did the same thing last year where we kind of like fused the two, and we had like cake and like rainbows and stuff.
So June 25th.
Yeah, but that's not locked in, only because Mojang is releasing an update next week, and who knows what that's gonna bring.
Yeah.
So when that comes out, then we'll kind of figure it out and get back to everyone on that. But that's the date that that's the date we're looking at, right? Worst case, it does come out, it breaks stuff, we have to take a bit of time to fix things, and we just do a Pride event in July, which isn't perfect. It's not ideal, but it's better to have one and to do an event and still celebrate and do all of that, rather than
better late than not doing it at all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was meant to ask this, and I guess you've already given the answer, kind of, but I just wanted it in stone. Why did you, like, when it kind of started getting well and thing, why did you not choose to maybe move the tournament over to Java? How come you kept it on Minecraft Bedrock Edition? Like, when Legacy season wise, when you said, okay, we're going to keep doing this, we're going to turn it into a server, or we're going to keep making games for it. Is there a reason you stuck to Bedrock Edition? Was it because everyone played Bedrock and that's what you knew, or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's what I know how to do. It's what a lot of our players play on. I also think MCBC as a name doesn't work if we're on Java.
We would have got a rebrand, is what I mean.
Yeah, it would have to be like a whole different event. And I actually had this talk with my dad because I was telling him like, oh, Java's got this, they got that, and like it's so much better. And my dad's like, why don't you just host the event on there? And I'm like, well, it's called Minecraft Bedrock Championship. It doesn't really work.
Minecraft Java Championship, MCJC.
Yeah. No, it's something that we've like talked about, but most of our team are not like. There's also not too many events on Bedrock. And I think that's a cool little niche thing. Even though Bedrock is definitely not as good for event hosting.
Sure.
Yeah, it's rough, but you know, it is what it is. We make do with it. I'm not trying to be an esport, so.
I was just curious with the whole like getting people on board thing. So I remember when I applied, Peters didn't tell me you didn't want me in the event. He likes me specifically. He didn't turn around and go like, no, Slater hates you, but he doesn't want you in the event. He kind of gave off this thing of like not wanting new people or something. And I remember like I joined, Rubixel joined, Plushy joined, Stride joined, Ella joined. And so it kind of went from no one's joining the event to like a few people joined in. Oh, is that part of the you kind of wanting to branch out a little bit and just get a few more people in the event, or was there like a reason behind all that?
So I was always a strong advocate to Pete about like I don't want a bunch of people in one event all at once because
was it from the
team
Hive
balancing.
community or something?
That was a factor too. Yeah, because we had a lot of Hive creators, and we still do, but like a lot of them don't do Hive anymore. So
I'm Java now. I'm Java.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot of them do not do Hive, or some of them don't make much content at all anymore. But I know when we were looking for Festive, that was kind of the conversation. So like what you're talking about, you were brought on before then, but there were a lot of people that were brought on right before Festive or like a month before. And so that was the game plan. We're like, let's bring on a bunch of people for Festive, and then we'll kind of like see like, and if we like them and they like the event and they want to come back and do more, then we can, open it up, have them sign up, and we can kind of trickle them in. And so what happened with 16 was we had like so many of the people who played in Festive go into this one, because there were so many players who didn't play in Festive and all that were just kind of like off the radar or weren't around that week. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're putting in like 7 people who haven't played in a canon event yet. Great. And I had to figure out team balancing. And so that's why 16 was kind of all over the place. And we had like, obviously you subbed in. And so that was a factor. But like your team was strong. We talked about Red. That team was strong. And then there was like 16 was just like, and all the teams were good. The lobby was a juiced lobby. It was a really good, it's a crazy season. But
well, the one where I teamed with Jin and Danda.
Yeah.
Can I ask if you have a reason for it? And it's not me trying to put you on the spot, so you can literally go, there's a reason for it of mine. Why was I benched for 16?
Why were you benched for 16?
Yeah, if you don't have an answer, it's fine. I'm just curious.
I think this was a while ago, so I'm trying to like put myself back into that mindset. It was probably similar to, so my only stats for you, and I think it was a stat decision, was because I had 14, which I knew that you underperformed in because it was your first event and you were on a weaker team. Again, it was a sub-in situation. And then like 14 and 16 were like opposite effects for you. Where one time you were subbed in on a team that was weaker, and the other time you were subbed in for a team that was stronger.
Oh, I started Christmas. I didn't get subbed in. I played Christmas.
No, and then for the Christmas event, that was also like a bad performance because of circumstance. It was a different reasoning. But I didn't have like solid stats for you. But then also I was like, man, we're putting in all these people who I also don't have solid stats for because all they played in was Festive. But then I also have like Orbits you did play in 14 or 15. It was 15 you did play in. I was like, despite that. And I was like, okay. And so I was trying to make teams, and it was like, we went through like 4 or 5 different drafts for the 16 teams. And there were a few other people that we did have on the bench, but the one that we liked and the one that we kind of settled on was the one where you were. And that's just kind of the way it went.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not like salty. Like, I hate you so much for benching me. It's just I was just more curious as to. I don't expect to play in every single event. I was just more curious as to like what was the outcome bench that time.
Yeah.
Because obviously because I don't know if you know the story of 90 plus 5. I don't know if you've ever heard the lore behind 90 plus 5.
No.
So I streamed. Obviously I streamed for like 6 hours, and I was gonna be spectating that event. But I thought I'd have like, I didn't really understand how the whole spectating thing worked, and I didn't realize that like I thought as long as there was a reason, I thought you guys were in creative, but you weren't. You were in spectator, so I know now. So anyways, I didn't realize like the whole thing. So I thought I was just gonna be in survival, whatever. Watch from a pod. I was like, oh, that's not really entertaining for my stream. So I was about to end. And Oral Cat starts messaging, tired of in editing. I'm not gonna make it. So I start screaming 90 plus 5. So be it.
Oh.
Orocat subs out last second, literally last second, and I sub in. Then there's also the just build battle. Not build battle. God. Oh my god.
Build arena.
Build arena. I always get the name
Yeah,
wrong. Obviously last minute the pigs. It's the build arena. I literally draw it in 0 seconds, and then
Right.
and then cacti, which we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to make
the
it
whole thing.
before we get into talking about cacti. For the viewers, me and Slade have already discussed before stream that we are going to talk about this. We're not going to have a back and forth and argue about what should have been done and what shouldn't have been done. I'm going to simply leave my thoughts on the situation and my thoughts on the outcome, and then Slade is going to do the same, and that's it. We're not going to have a conversation about it. Well, we'll talk, but like not that.
Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know the outcome, 90 plus 5. Cacti, it is 1-1. I team kill Generis, and
Oh yeah.
and then I'm 1v1ing
That
Plushie.
was the move.
Plushie shoots me off, and watching back in the VOD, I thought I shot Plushie at the same time. I didn't.
Yeah.
As I'm being flinged off, I shoot Plushie, which I admit now was bad timing. However, I still stand firmly that I think it should have been a draw. That's my own opinion. And people can turn around and be like, oh, but if that was the other way around, you wouldn't be like that. My opinion, I think that should have been a draw because I still killed Plushie no matter what. Obviously, I die, Plushie then dies. Controversial mix up, turns out to be a draw. Next round, I team kill Generis again. and the other team wins. It's Plushie, Irish, and Stride on that team, I believe. That was the OP team with the parkour team. They win that round. Had they have been given the win for the draw round, they would have won the event. We then come back and we win the event 3-2. My opinion, should have stayed a draw. I think a rerun was fair, and it turned out to be the exact same scenario anyways. And had it have not been a draw and they were 2-1 up, we would have changed my whole mindset. I wouldn't have team killed Generis, because when we went 2-1 down, I didn't kill team kill Generis.
Yeah, it would have played differently.
It would have played differently. However, going forward, you guys have announced that if it's the person who dies first, the other team will get the win. It will never be a draw again. That was a one-time thing. Why? What is your thoughts on it? Because I rewatched the admin stream, and I've said this before. The entire time, the admin team were rooting for Plushie and Stride's team to win and Irish's team to win, which is completely fine. I mean, if you guys are friends, you want them to win, that's completely fine. Then in the moment, it got changed, and for some bizarre reason, everyone voted for it to be a draw. Maybe they wanted the suspense of the event, maybe that, and then everyone now looking back, it's like, oh crap, the team we wanted to win didn't win. And that's my thoughts on it. Not to say there's bias or anything.
I don't know if that was so my stance on it was like I was okay with the draw in the moment, but that was mainly because I assumed that Red was okay with it. I think especially in like, obviously I was the event host, and so at the end of the day it was my decision. But I assumed that they were okay with it. Had I known that they weren't, I would have gone back and watched, like I would have stopped the event and gone and watched the VODs back. But in the interest of like, okay, well look, I wasn't watching what happened, so I was like, I just see the death messages pop up. My first instinct is, oh okay, that's a Red win because Plushie went out. It was like a second after or something. It was close. It was really tight. And so end of the day, we've made the decision moving forward to just go off of whatever the chat thing pops up last, mainly because of the amount of stress that I got post event, because all the back and forth and everyone being all upset that that call was made and that we didn't look into it further. And I was just sort of like, at the end of the day, it's a Minecraft event. So, I understand that people can get heated in the moment, but it's whatever call we made, whether or not I think it was the right one. I think it was a call we made in the moment, and I don't think it was. I definitely don't think it was like a wrong decision, but I don't know if it was the right either. Like I don't know. It's the decision we made. I wish I don't know. Like walking out, I felt like a bad event host because I didn't look at both parties before making that call. I was just like, I heard like you guys were like, let's do a tie, and then the entire audience of like all the other players that were watching it were like, let's do that. But Red never said anything until after I already made the call. Yeah, and then they were like, what?
But then isn't that kind of like their thing as well though? Because we actively said in chat, draw. Like they should have actively said in chat, not draw, and then they would have. But they didn't. Right. Like, so I understand you should have went to both teams and be like, okay, what are your thoughts on this? But then it's also a case of like they didn't actively fight for the draw until it wasn't given, and then even then watching back on their VODs, they were like, oh, it's a draw, whatever. Oh well. Yeah. And then it was only when they lost that's when the uproar started from the viewers and stuff, because they were the favorites to win. People like I know like obviously them three have a big audience in the MCBC team, and I've seen and I've really that to completely understandable. So obviously that kind of thing. But had it have been, I think the other way around, say like we were screwed out of a draw, I don't think there would have been that much uproar from the audience because our audiences aren't really active competitive in that scene, if that makes sense.
Right.
So could it also be a case of just like it was just the wrong people who got, in quotation marks, screwed over kind of thing? And it's just unfortunate it was them.
Maybe. I don't know. It honestly, the way I've kind of been taking that is just we have the rule. I don't want Cactus to go for 6 rounds. So if it happens again, we're just gonna go. All right, whoever the host is, whoever's the one clicking the buttons and making the game operate that day, which in most cases and in all canon cases has been me. Other than TCPC, but anyway. If that's what pops up on my screen, that's what I'm going with. That's what I did in the legacy events. That's what I did in testing. The only reason we didn't, like, we've had ties and stuff go down in testing, similar to that, but we never draw the round. We're just like, okay, whatever the chat comes. The only reason we went with that was because everyone was screaming tie. And I got confused and the team got confused. We didn't know what to do. We got flustered. And so we're like, all right, sure. If everyone's cool with the tie, we'll do the tie. Yeah, exactly. And so we're like, all right, cool, whatever. Let's do that. If everyone's cool with that, that's what we'll do. But moving forward, I'm just going to do that. It's cleaner that way. And that's just the, I have other systems set up now that should hopefully help that. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I just want to move on from it. Like it's just like I'm done with it.
Bring up, like,
yeah,
I think
no.
I just want to kind of have like.
I was so stressed the following week because it was like people were mad at me for that, and it was so like people like it was unnecessary the amount of drama that went on after that.
Was it really that bad? 'Cause I didn't see any of it. I couldn't really find any.
I couldn't be asked to deal with it. Like, that was the gist of it. I was like, oh my god.
I didn't see any of the, when you said about like all the drama and backlash and stuff, I didn't see any of the drama and backlash.
No, it was mostly people like were reaching out to me individually about the whole ordeal, and I just didn't want to. Yeah.
Well, I know I reached out to you myself, which I'm sorry to contribute into that, but I feel like I'm not gonna say what I reached out to you about, but looking back on it, you can understand that my one was a little bit valid if you remember why I reached out to you about the outcome of the event.
I understand. I get why everyone was reaching out to me about it, and that's why I felt so stressed about it.
It's just a bit too much.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to keep it for fun and stuff. As I said, I didn't mean to bring it up to cause drama, and that's why I said I'm not going to argue with you and say, Slade, you suck, you're wrong, I can't believe you, it should have been a draw. It's just like, I just wanted to kind of, and now, because you said it in the MCBC Discord, but it's also good that this is going to now be a public podcast where you publicly said, in the future, whoever dies first is a draw. So now no one can turn around and be like, oh, that's such a rule change. Oh, you said that it would be a draw. There's now public proof that you have turned around and said, this is my thoughts on it, this is the outcome, this is what happens.
That's the hard. In the past, it was always like that's what we do, but it was never like a hard rule. And so when we finally had an instance where like, okay, it's close and people wanted it to be a draw, we were like, yeah, sure, what the hell? And so now we're like, no, we're just gonna stick with what we like did in the past. Of that's just gonna be the hard rule. And if it gets close again, people can cry about it. I'm just gonna go whatever pops up on my screen and keep the event momentum going.
What about if
otherwise people just get flustered and confused?
What about if sod's law 2 people died at the exact same time and it's just it's randomized who pops up first?
I'm going with whatever pops up last.
Really?
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Oh, geez.
If it's a tick and if it's really the thing is the odds of that happening where it's a 1v1 in Cactus and they go down that close is pretty unlikely.
I mean, what happened with me in Plushie was like 1 in million, like
right,
thousands,
but
like...
even that had like a second gap. Like when you go back and you rewatch
it
was close. It was extremely close, but it wasn't so close to where it was a clear like, oh, I don't know, like there was, you heard both sound effects go individually.
And that's why I admit as well, like looking back on it, I realized that as I'm midair, I shoot Plushie, it's like a Hail Mary shot, I somehow hit it.
Yeah, it was a shot, to be fair. It was like, how did you hit
shot? Yeah. But like in the moment, you can understand why I thought I shot him at the same time, and that's why I said it was ping diff. And then looking back, and I'm like, okay, no, it wasn't ping diff, but it was an arrow lag. I did actually just shoot late, which is my own fault. But it's nothing that can be done now. It's in the past. So well, tournament. It's like you've made it very clear. The tournament, although it can be a bit competitive, is just for fun. MCBC is just a fun tournament, and like is well past that. And I'm sure, hopefully, the other team aren't too annoyed with it. I mean, they still play in the event, so I can't imagine that they're too pissed off by the outcome, because all 3 of those players are still playing in the event now. But yeah, so with like that idea of like going back now to the votings, system. Obviously, I left a massive paragraph of feedback.
Yeah.
I hope you appreciated it. I think you did.
I did.
Considering
Yeah.
your response.
Yeah.
I kind of got the idea of leaving like massive paragraphs of feedback because then every single Java tournament, people leave like massive paragraphs and the owners love it because they want to improve the event. And I'm assuming even though it's like a bit of a smaller, but you want to keep it smaller event, you still want to improve it. You still want it to be more fun and like I essentially go on to like the big stages of being a solid working event kind of thing. So I left a massive amount of feedback for each of the games. Obviously, a lot of it can come down to lag. A lot of it also can come down to, for instance, the zombies in Relic Raiders. That just, I know me and Ian went for a different strat, but had the zombies not screwed us over, that strat was amazing. And you can't lie, that was an amazing idea of like, okay, get all the zombies on this side and like mine through. And it's like, but with them not falling, obviously that kind of messed us up. And then like lag crafting just comes down to Minecraft Bedrock being crap. However, voting isn't lag. It's you said it as well. It's been like that for a while. It's an amazing original concept. There was a bug this season where for some bizarre reason Relic Raiders votes weren't counting, which you know,
and even
jokingly
it wasn't every vote either. It was like weirdly not doing all of them. It was like weirdly inconsistent.
So, but like with the lag wise, you looked back on my VOD. I don't know if you see the situation of where I'm trying to hit Jerry. I'm not Jerry, the upside down fella into it, and he just starts climbing the wall like a spider. What is the idea with like taking feedback on board? Like, how much of my feedback have you kind of taken on and been like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna change, like with like voting specifically, I guess. Is there any has any of it had an impact? Or
there's a certain level of like, I don't know how much of it will be done for the next event.
Well,
right?
not the next event, but going forward.
Right, but in general, I definitely think for the voting, there's like, without us completely gutting the game mode, it's more of like, how can we try to make it better, and especially with the how do we figure out a way to make it not count? Because like we've sat there forever trying to figure this out, and sometimes, so the way Wrangler works is we can put any game in any slot, and sometimes when we put certain games in certain slots, it just doesn't like it, but then when we put a different game in that slot, it's fine. We don't really know why. It's a thing. And so the best way to change it might be, we've talked about like, what if instead of TPing the pigs, it kills them? And that is like a more concrete detection system than the TP.
Just as like a kill count.
Right. And we've talked about that, and we might end up doing it at some point. The only reason we haven't is because it's like, well, now it feels like we're slaughtering animals the entire game mode. And it definitely feels strange. But yeah, but exactly, they're Minecraft pigs, so it's not like we're promoting anything.
But what about like the hitting in general? Like, is the part like the idea of them being TP'd? Because like hitting doesn't work. I don't know if it's just for me or if it's for everyone, but when you smack a pig, it doesn't work at all. Is that Bedrock edition?
It can be, yeah, that's a Bedrock lag thing. Us again killing and respawning the animals might help with that. It might, because I think it's an entity lag thing. I know Prime was kind of talking about it in the Discord of just like, when you have a certain amount of players on a server, things just go weird for some reason, especially with entities. And yeah, I think that's probably a case of that. Of it just gets the knockback when you try to hit a pig. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes a few seconds. And then all of a sudden they just fly. And I think it doesn't help when you have you hitting it and then like 3 other people running up and trying to hit the same pig in different directions, and it just doesn't know what to do. The AI panics with the lag. So I agree. I think Wrangler is a game mode. We actually had to talk about it the other day of like, what can we do? And so we're trying to find easier solutions before having to like completely rework it. But I do think long term it'll probably get changed into something slightly different. It's a tricky situation of like, well, how do we find something that is still the essence of Wrangler without having to completely tweak it, but also is a little bit like easier to, I guess, I want to say like control, but I don't know if that's the right word. It's like easier to
manage, I guess.
Yeah, of like from a player perspective.
I don't want us to be all toxic about the games or all negative about the games, because I mean, I've openly expressed to you and I've said it publicly that I love MCBC and I want to come back for future tournaments, and that's why when the whole outcome of the suggestions and stuff, which is private matter, and that's why I said like, I hope it doesn't affect my chances of coming back, like the feedback and stuff like that. I want to talk about the good things though. The new Ace Race, not Ace Race. Why do I keep calling it like bloody MCC Rift Race? I know the name. It's just my bloody head.
That's okay. You're good.
The new Rift Race game, map. Sorry, not game. Absolutely amazing. I got ping diffed out of third, which infuriated me. That's nothing you can do. Me and Master were literally. I watched back.
When you guys ran up at the same time.
Yeah, we were literally like boots next to each other. So I don't think it was even ping diff. I think Master was just a tiny bit in front of me, and I just didn't see it because I wasn't focusing. Amazing map. Now I hope it's staying the same next time, because I actually know routing on it now, which is nice. I maybe I had the advantage because people didn't know it. But top 4, I'll take that. Amazing new map. You guys did a great job, and I'm glad it got played. And the new parkour. I don't know. What's the name of this one? Oh god, sorry.
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
It's like it's similar. Like even if I know like when you were breaking down the games, you called it parkour, and I was like, that's fine. It's the same game. It's just got an extra twist.
Well, and we decided to rename it. Parkour, like it's a different name.
Yeah.
So Gauntlet's also amazing. The parkour's a lot easier. There was that one jump on 22 that we got stuck on. I do want to ask though, how much of like that point system wise is going to be, if any?
I think Gauntlet especially. I'm going to be
only Gauntlet. I'm only asking Gauntlet.
Yeah. So Gauntlet. I can't. I'm definitely tuning the game mode back a bit, but I think I'm going to try to figure out like I don't know.
Because I'm
not done it yet. I'm not done it yet, so it's hard for me to like confirm anything. But I know I'm definitely tuning the points back a bit because the game mode is quite high, especially since most players only got the blue gate. It's like it's on par with parkour back when people were like so say season 17, season 16, where we had people finishing. It's on like the same point vibe of that game, and people were getting all the way to the end of parkour. But in this, people are getting like you said, like the 22 or before, and there was a few people who got past that, but no one got to red gate, which we kind of expected because it's hard. So we might have to tune the game back a bit. But I'm also thinking of like dividing the bonuses and trying to make that a little more fair, because I think right now it leans heavily to like just get to the gate and dip out and get that first place bonus, because it's just not worth trying to do the other checkpoints because the checkpoints don't give enough points.
There goes my strat. I had a strat for next season, and you've just destroyed it. We
figured that out pretty early on in testing. We're like, just get to blue gate and jump through it, and like obviously I do think that can be a strategy, but I think the problem is right now is it almost rewards you to just get a top 6 bonus and not bother with the extra part of the game, and it just rewards players not even trying it.
Well,
and I think that's the problem.
They switched,
kind of like what they did. That's why they did so well.
2 and 3rd, second and third. Yeah, and I don't know if once again I don't know how much of my VOD you watched back. I don't know if you watched me and play Gauntlet, but like I remember I dipped to like 5th, and I was like, "Ian, leave," like Ian. He's like, "No, leave." And like you even see me saying, "I'm definitely in chat," and he left at 7, so he missed out on the top 6 bonus. And had he got the top 6 bonus, we would have been. It wouldn't want to change the outcome of the event, of course. It would have boosted.
Yeah, it's like 5 more points or something. But it's
points though.
It's still points. Yeah, exactly.
So because the idea I had for next season was just to convince my team get to 20 and all of us dip 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah.
But now would that not be a strat? Would that not like be a viable strat, or would it still be a viable strat?
I think you're gonna have to look at the point scheme and make that call yourself. But I definitely think the objective is to try and incentivize people to go as far as they can first. Yeah. But I do think, like at the same time, getting first at a gate, I think, especially getting first at a gate, should probably be worth more than trying to do the next like 2 or 3 checkpoints. Let's say you get further.
Are you able to leak the point difference, or are you like keeping it quiet, like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th to leave?
I'm going off the top of my head. I think right now, first, all the gates are consistent in terms of like the differences between the different the different placements, but then they're all like higher values. And I think it's like 10 points between 1st and 2nd, and then 10 points between 2nd and 3rd, but then it's 5 between 4th, 5th, 6th.
So 1st to dip gets like 50 points.
They get like 50 more than the normal gate bonus.
Yes, that's 150 like points if all 3 of you dip. Not 150, but like 100. Like
it would be it would be like an extra. It would be like an extra 120 or something. Yeah,
which is
if you're 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at the gate. Yeah.
But is that changing? You said that's that
probably. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's all I really had for the whole feedback I did. I loved it. I loved the new Gauntlet game I did. Actually. And then obviously like other games that I didn't do too good in. But I do want to play Spleef. I've never played Spleef, and I know people always bloody dodge it, and I want to play it.
Pete actually had a great remark on this, which is Spleef. If you want to play Spleef, you can go play on a server. It's like we obviously put our own spin on it, and I love playing Spleef and testing because it's a fun game to just sort of vibe in, listen to music, and just kind of mess around. I get why like it's not really like an MCBC game mode, quote unquote, and so compared to some of the other more original concepts. So I get it.
I guess maybe lag as well. I might not enjoy it as much as I think I would.
That's fair.
That comes to.
But Spleef, I had a lot of fun with it. I know the new map that we had in 18 that obviously didn't get played. Industry, I did make that one. So I was hoping to see that one get played, but it didn't, and that's okay. And that's it. Look, whenever something gets skipped, I'm not really disappointed about it because it just means that we have more stuff to put in the next event that we haven't. That is like still new, so we don't have to do more new stuff.
And I'd also like to. I apologized about it in the Discord as well. On my stream, I got a little bit confused with relic raiders, and I said about like
Oh yeah.
points.
That's okay.
It's capped to 300. It doesn't reset to 300, and it was just my bad for doing that all wrong. So I like to apologize for that as well.
Yeah.
So,
It's yeah. I'm not like people get confused with relic. There's a lot of moving parts in relic raiders, so I'm not surprised that people just forget things or get things mixed up. That's okay.
So before we move on to the Twitter questions, then, because this podcast, I didn't realize how bloody long we've been going. I've enjoyed this. How's it been for you, Slater? You've done great, honestly.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
The conversation has flowed. We've had some good talks. So a little segment quickly then before I ask you the Twitter questions. What is the future of MCBC? Do you have any leaks? You have plans?
Well, we're actually having a meeting on Sunday with the entire team to try and discuss that. I have a roadmap mapped out until the end of the year. So we already kind of know what we're doing for the rest of the year in terms of not just like when events are going to be, but what new stuff we're going to be adding and all of that. But then what we're going to be talking about in the meeting mainly is more next year's stuff, and we are definitely planning for next year as well. So in terms of so like when we started season 11, we had it mapped out to like season 18. So we're kind of like we're past that now. So we're trying to figure out like, okay, we need to sit down and do it again. In terms of the future, there are some, I think, so if you rewind 6 months ago, our objective was to sit down and make the current game modes better. And that's why in the last 6 months, Gold Runners was the last game we introduced, and that was in October. We haven't done a new game since then. And that's because we were like, let's do new maps. We did a new map for BR, new map for Rift Race. We reworked parkour in a gauntlet. We did some new overrun maps. We improved this, we improved that. And so that was sort of like, we sat down and we like, let's improve the games we got. And so I think the next year and a half will be more looking to what else can we add to the event, like new games and new quality of life stuff. And while still looking back and adding new stuff to the other games, I think we may see the introduction of a 9-game mode.
Ooh, I know, and then you can start benching game modes as well.
Yes, that means we'll have.
Because how much does Wrangler fit? Wrangler fits 8, right?
Wrangler fits 8.
Okay,
yeah.
so you'd be having 1. By the way, with the whole future thing, I do just want to say, and I am going to toot my own horn, and I think I deserve to. And like I said, I rewatched the admin streams, and in the admin stream, they were going on about how certain people are averaging certain amounts, and every single stream they were looking at were YouTube. They didn't look at Twitch streams. I averaged 22 viewers, with 19 of them being Java viewers who had no clue what MCBC was over on Twitch, by the way. So
awesome.
I just I'm tooting my own horn. When I was looking at it, there's like, I was like, come on, mention me. But no one looked at Insane Orbit's Twitch. For a period of time, I was averaging 30 viewers, Slater playing MCBC.
Yeah.
Then I started playing shit, so people clicked off. But yeah, so I thought I'd toot my own horn and be like, yeah, see, this is why you should bring me back to future events, because you definitely only care about the numbers, as you mentioned earlier.
Right, yeah, no,
So,
totally. Numbers,
having
clout is my main thing, as we've discussed. It's like, yeah.
I am going to get to play in like future events and stuff, though, yeah.
Sorry?
I am going to get to come back for like future events.
Yes,
and stuff, like,
yes.
Like, Pride and stuff. That's what Natty had me as their because that's it. Okay, so one more thing as well I want to talk about, and I should have talked about this earlier, and it's just reminded me, and then we'll get into the Twitter questions. I'm so sorry. I just want to talk about this. So between the staff, you guys run an MCBC fantasy league, and I know that previously, well, in this last tournament, Natty had me as the carry, which I hope due to that I got them a good amount of points. For being a carry. So there's different ones you have. From what I remember from talking to someone, there's a captain, there's a carry, there's an underdog, and there's a... What's the fourth one you have?
Captain, support, carry,
support.
and
That'd be the... Oh, pop-off, that's it. And then that's what I meant by underdog and then thing.
Yeah,
so you pick 4 people. Do they have to be from different teams?
No.
So you can pick like 3 people from the same team.
So you get points is essentially how we do it. Natty pulled it. So MCC, there's a fantasy thing, and he pulled that and made our own version.
I heard about that, yeah.
And so we get like X amount of points, and we have to pick 4 players. No
Not
more,
based on
no
placement,
less.
and you get points based on placement.
So you get points, yeah. So the point value that you're assigned is based on like your average from previous events.
Okay.
This season, though, for this particular season, Natty forgot to do it, and so it was pre-event. Dark, I think, might have caught parts of it in the admin stream. Natty was like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna make it now," and then he and Jack were just kind of throwing it together. So only he and Jack had a team from this one because they threw it together 10 minutes before the event started.
Nice.
And they didn't even have the averages. Natty's like, I don't even have access to the averages, so I'm just gonna assign numbers at random and just see, like, just kind of like generally gauge people. And it was not, it was the most scuffed one. But yeah, it was, yeah. Usually I try to like pick people based on, like, I usually try to spread out and like try to pick different people every event and just see what happens, because who cares. But yeah, it's a fun little thing we do.
So
with
how
the
many
staff.
points would I have got Natty then be? Because I turned out to be the carry because I got the most
I
amount
don't
of
think he
points.
did the math for this one yet, which is kind of embarrassing, to be honest.
No, but I
with
mean,
him.
well, give or
you know.
take then, how much you reckon? Like, say, like, because I actually did turn out to be the carry, and because he gave me the carry.
So the carry is, it would be your score with the team score average, and I think it's like divided, added, or something. There's some sort of.
Oh, so it's not like, so it's like, obviously I run an MCC fantasy league now, and I run a Block
Right.
fantasy league, and if
So
you
you
place
get-
first, you get 40 points, and if you have a captain, they get 80 points, kind of thing. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah, it's something like that. So, like, you got however many points you got this season, and so you get that, but then you also get like a modifier because you're put under support or you put under carry. Or
Oh,
you're
so,
put
but
under...
say I turned out not to be the carry, and Rubik's will play side at me, would he have not got any like bonus points for that?
He would have still gotten some, but I don't think he would have gotten as many.
Oh, okay, got you.
Right, so it's like maybe that would have been better to be put as like a different, like you said, it was your highest event or one of your highest. So it's like maybe it'd be better to be put with pop off, because it's like it would be slightly above your average, something like that.
Got you.
I don't know. It's a silly side game. None of us
sounds
take it
fun.
very seriously.
I was just curious. 'Cause it does
Yeah,
sound like
no,
fun.
you're good. Yeah, usually like TZ and I, when we were making teams, we're just like 5 seconds of like, all right, that kind of adds up to 40 points or 30 points or how many points we get. It's like, that works, and we'll just send them in to Natty, and then usually we get like last. But you know, I've not won yet, so I've been pretty bad at it. Which
Put me
is
as
something.
pop off next event, Slater, and I'll preview.
Yeah,
I'll
maybe
preview
I need to
crowd.
do that.
Do it. Put
Maybe
me
I
as
need
pop
to
off,
do
and I'll
that,
pop
yeah.
off next event just for you, Slater. If you do it,
Yeah.
I'll pop off. Yeah. Sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the Twitter questions thing. She said it's a nice, hot, lovely day outside. It's also
Yes.
10:30 p.m. for me, so
Well,
it's a
yeah,
little bit late.
time difference is crazy.
I know. So I have 3 Twitter questions for you. The most Twitter questions I've had for someone in weeks, by the way. So
Oh, that's
you know,
awesome.
You should feel honoured. So the first one comes from Peters HD, and for anyone who doesn't know, Peters HD used to be the one who invited people to the event, I believe, and also did the
Yeah.
team, right?
Yep.
So ironic that he's asking
Well,
this.
no, he did the teams for festive, but anyway.
Okay. Well, he got people in the event. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So ironic that he's asking this.
Yeah.
How do you choose who to invite to MCBC?
Currently?
Currently.
I'm assuming is what he's referring to,
Oh,
because
yeah.
obviously back in the day he made that call more than I did. But currently we've been looking at mainly roster referrals is the main thing. So the last few seasons, that's sort of what we've been mainly looking at. And so basically we have the sheet on the Discord. I don't know if you know about it actually, or
Yeah, I
there's,
actually need to, because I referred someone and someone said use the shit. I can't be bothered, but I'm going to. And
Okay,
refer
yeah.
someone to the event.
So we definitely look at that. I mean, obviously, then we take that and we kind of look into the person ourselves. But it's just sort of like to put someone on the map and to just sort of like put them on our radar. And that helps because, like, especially when it's someone who like has a friend in the event, it's someone I can instantly put them on a team with them, potentially, like, so say Ella Munch or Jaden Dog. They were good examples of that. They were brought in and they were put with the person who referred them, which was Irish and Slates. And then there's other situations like right now I think Natty's been looking out and kind of like messaging people and asking around. I know then there's like old returning people that I still have in connection with, like when we brought Snipe back, that was someone that I reached out to and I was like, hey, would you still be interested in playing in one of these again? Because I noticed he started streaming recently. And so yeah, it kind of a bit of everything, but yeah, mainly roster referral. But I don't know if I want that to be like our main way of doing it, but it's definitely a good way. It's a solid way because it's like people are already in it. If they have friends and they want their friends to come play, then why not?
And to add to that, from like my question, kind of building on that, with like these new referrals, they will stay as referrals. 'Cause I remember one time, I think it was just as a joke, so I didn't take it seriously. I think it was from Natty, and he said something about like, "Oh, Orbits, weren't you only meant to be playing in one season anyways?" Because I think it was after the tie actually. I said something that. And
No, you know what that was? It was when Pete 1v1'd you or something in a
Yeah,
video, and
that
that's
one.
he gave you a golden ticket. And I remember Pete coming to me and be like, "Yeah, so Orbits is gonna come play in an event." And I'm like, "What? Why?" I was like, "If we bring him onto the roster," he's like, "I have no idea yet, but he beat me in a 1v1, so we're gonna see." I was like, "All right."
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't
all right,
take it
cool.
seriously, but I remember like saying that. So like with these new
Yeah.
referrals, they will stay. They're not just gonna be one time.
Yeah. So we're bringing them onto the roster. Yeah.
And then they'll get to play a future event.
Yeah.
So the next one is from Irish Potato,
Mhm.
and it's which MCBC season has been your favorite to produce and why? You can include legacy seasons and non-canon seasons. And to kind of add to this, if you really can't, you can also I'll let you choose one from normal season, canon, and legacy if you want, or you can just choose one overall.
All right.
If you need me to repeat the question because I added to it, but like
Season 10 has to be on that list for me.
what was season 10? Why?
That was the send out. So when we did season 10, we weren't sure if we were coming back.
Okay.
And so part of that was we played every game mode. It was like a 3-hour event, and we brought back, it was almost the exact same group of people that played in the very first one as the ones who played in the 10th one. And that was really cool. Like the ending VC that we had was the same ending VC as we did in the season 1. I think with the addition of Generous. I think he was the only one because Generous played in season 10. That was his first event. But it was, so 10 had to be there. I think if we're looking at the newer ones, this event was actually really good for me. I really enjoyed this one. I think having Gauntlet and Rift Race both being played as like new map and then new game mode was really cool. I think that one was a lot of fun. Season 13 and season 11. I think those were probably the highlights for me, but like they're all good in their own way. So like there's always moments that it's hard to like rate them against each other, especially when I'm not playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just watching it from an outside. So
I
it's
mean,
sort of like, it's always like when we introduce something new and I see people and they like it, that's usually I'm like, yeah, that was a good one. So
I guess it's gonna sound really biased, but season 16 was my favorite.
Yeah. No,
I guess
16 was, from my POV, 16 was great. But yeah, no, like we talked about earlier, it just caused a lot of stress afterwards. So it kind of tainted my memory.
Yeah.
But BR especially, bringing that map back was super cool in 16. And then we skipped 17 we introduced Rift Race. So I'm forgetting. What happened in 16?
16 we skipped. We didn't play the gold game.
Gold Runners, right? That's what was skipped that season. Right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Gold
because
Runners.
everyone wanted it. Everyone wanted Gold Runners, and it came down to Jerry to choose build or Gold
Right.
Runners, and because I last minute. That's why I love that one because they kind of worked out my favor again. Something last minute again, build last minute again, a really high point record with like Shin and Dan. Not the record, but we got high points. So like that's why I enjoyed that so much. And I guess the draw thing made it fun. I understand the backlash was a bit crappy, and I'm sorry that you had to face that. But I don't know, it made me more hype. I was like, I've just won a really controversial event. Let's go. So
it was our first sudden death in Cactus in the new seasons as well.
Oh, really?
I think so. It's the only one so far. I think the last time we had a sudden death, there was a reverse sweep that happened at one point in season 3, and that was when Peters and TZ were on a team, and they lost a reverse sweep, and that was tragic to Snipe and XN actually, which is kind of funny because I know most people wouldn't pin them to do that, but Snipe was a menace back then. I don't know if there were other draws. There was,
that's something I really enjoy. Stuff. And that's why I said when I bought the whole new my horn again with the whole new Java crew, like my Java viewers loved it. Like we all agreed the Bedrock is shit, and I don't like Bedrock, but we all agreed it was a fun event to watch. But that's fair enough. I do have one more question, and this question comes from your brother actually.
I love that.
When in your mind will MCBC as a project be complete? Like when will you? This is word for word, by the way. Like when will you feel it's finished?
Thanks, Ryder. That is a big question. I think in a way, never, but it's more so like I was saying, we're trying to make the games we have better. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. And so now it's like, we could keep adding new games and just cycle what games are in the event. But I think it is finished for me when I'm no longer having fun with it. Like in terms of ending the event, I think that is the thing. Like that would be the decision. Or if it's like, or I'm not having fun, or like there's some like roster and having fun. Like I think that would be the ending point. But even then, I think unless I hated it to the point where I never wanted to go back at it, I still think I would do like 2 events a year or something, and just invite like the old admins and just do some weird events like that.
I guess it's just like if you had to face what happened after season 16 after every single event.
Yeah,
I can't be bothered.
yeah, I'd be like that. It's just not worth it. Like at that point, right?
That was such a one-off. Like even like just the way people acted as well was like it just wasn't in anyone's nature. Like what happened there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even like viewer base wise, like it's just not normal one-off scenario, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you like honestly, MCBC is such a good tournament. Like you should be so proud of yourself for what you've accomplished. And like I mean, like I am only just saying this to you, by the way. Like I said, I had someone on who had a Java tournament on. As much as that is great, Java's Java. Like what you've accomplished on Minecraft Bedrock and like the roster you've built and stuff like that. Like you've done such an amazing job. Like big props to you. And I may like with the way I talk sometimes, I'm very just straightforward and I can be a bit like taken like wrong online, sorry, like with the whole feedback. Like you took it well, but it could have come off as toxic or like the aftermath and stuff like that. And I just want to say like you have done like a really amazing job and you should be very happy with how far MC come. And I'm grateful I get to play. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, man, no problem. Yeah, no, that's I can't wrap my head around that. You have no idea. Like I literally, well, like I was saying, season 1 was Bedrock boxes, and so my head I'm still there doing Bedrock boxes. But now the Bedrock box has like Krakens and stuff in it, so it's a little different. No, it's crazy how much it's grown, but I'm definitely eager to see where it's gonna keep going, and to some extent, like to use MCBC as like a stepping stone for me and my future, and where it might take us is pretty cool. Yeah, I've learned a lot about obviously a lot about Bedrock and the way Minecraft works, but the way even like game development, weirdly enough, like I never thought going into this that I'd learn a lot about that, but there's certain decisions you have to make of like, yeah, maybe, there's this problem and this problem, but you kind of have to do it this way, otherwise this suffers and that suffers. And so it's about a lot of like give and take, and I'm definitely not an expert. Like I literally did all the legacy events with an Xbox controller with a chat pad. So I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm sort of just winging it and hoping for the best. But
yeah, you and all the stuff.
Yeah.
The maps, the way it works and stuff. Obviously, it has a few problems, but it's just like this podcast with the pausing and accidentally cancelling and then the changing of mics. Everything's gonna be scuffed. It's just common Slater.
It's like I said, yeah. It's the Slater method.
It's a Slater Productions.
Yeah, it's what I do. It's always a little bit of scuffed in everything I've made, so well, that's okay.
I just wanted to put out there that I may kind of come off his thing, but I do have massive respect for what you've done with the tournament, and that's why I being it so much. Like in the last one, I literally started the stream with this is the biggest Bedrock Edition tournament. That's why I hype it up so much, because I just think it deserves the hype. And I said June is my month. Hopefully I get into MCBC. This isn't me trying to trick you into going put me in the event. Obviously if you can't fit me into a team, that's completely fine. I don't mind. But if I get to play in Pride, I've said June is my month. If it's the end of June, I'll get to play, because it's on a Sunday, which I was meant to ask why you guys do it on a Sunday, but I think I know the answer. It's just because of it being because it's most tournaments are hosted on a Saturday, and due to religious purposes and stuff as well, I think, or most people can't play Saturdays or something, right? I guess
it's mostly just because most events do Saturday, and we just like to be quirky, I guess. Originally, we fluctuated between a few dates, but we ended up settling on Sunday. And that was just sort of like our day, and that's just what we're known for now.
And I'm not going to play in a tournament at the end of on the last Saturday of the month, but I'll be able to play in the one on Sunday, so I guess it works out if I get into
Well, there you go. Yeah, hopefully we don't get it pushed back. I'm hoping we can stick to the planned date, but we'll see what Mojang does.
Well,
we are at their mercy.
So. Well, Seda, I've kept you here for long enough. I hope I haven't kind of held you here. I hope you've been alright to stay here.
I'm gonna go and as my reputation says, I'm gonna go have an alcoholic beverage and go sit out by the pool.
We never got around to talking about the story, but we've also been going for about an hour and a half now, so I think I can bring you back on in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe, sure. Yeah,
maybe I'll get to stream MCBC to 500 viewers, and we come back and be like, "What the fuck has just happened?" So, but thank you all for watching. Seda, do you want to promote yourself quickly? I give everyone the opportunity. You can promote yourself, the tournament, whatever you like.
Go check out MCBC event on Twitter or the MCBC YouTube channel, Minecraft Bedrock Championship. You also go check out me. I don't post much, but you can go watch it. And then I would go and check out some of the other staff members as well. Some of them do make really good content, and like I know TZ streams, Natty streams, so they do some fun stuff. Yeah, and just thank you for having me here, and yeah, thanks for all the love and support from everyone who maybe is tuning in and is in our Discord and all that. It's crazy. I cannot believe that there's as many people following this and watching it and wanting to play in it as there is. It baffles me to this day.
Well,
So.
you've done, like I said, you've done an amazing job, and to keep it this consistent and stuff, like big props. Especially even
Yeah.
more so because it's on Bedrock, and Bedrock
Yeah.
Edition, as we can all agree, is dog shit. So.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship for sure.
But yeah.
It's brutal. Yeah, but
Thank you all for watching. This has been the Inside Minecraft podcast. Everything you need to know about MCBC. Maybe in the future we'll get Slater on just for Slater. We can talk about alcohol and have a drinking podcast if you're ever
oh
down,
god.
you know. But yeah, have a good one, lads. Don't eat too much bread. Stay safe. Pieces.